Okay. So, so something that I've been thinking a lot about is I always think a lot about this, but particularly recently is our fascia in relationship to our nervous system. And our nervous system is like routed out through our fascia, right? Because the fascia is the organ of form. It's all the sort of system of biotensegrity that's holding us together, holding our shape. But it doesn't do it alone. It's doing it in conjunction with our nervous system. And it's doing it by every time we learn how we should be ourselves, our nervous system takes on that information. We start to hold ourselves a little bit differently. Or these are the exercises I've done, and my body knows that I've repeated it enough, it's in me. So if somebody's actually knocked out on general anesthesia where they're completely out, they can do a lot of things that they could never do if they were awake, right? So our consciousness is deeply interrelated with our nervous system, holding the patterns of our body. And we've learned how to be still and how to contain ourselves, probably more than we've learned ever how to be free with ourselves and move in free ways. So we're actually going to start with this shaking thing. And in our nervous system, if we're babies or children, babies actually can't shiver yet. So they have a lot of brown fat to help them thermoregulate. But as we get older, like if we're scared or if something awful happens, we shake a lot, and that releases the trauma instead of storing it in our tissues. So we're going to start with breath and shaking. So you're going to inhale, open up, and exhale, really active shake and bounce, letting go, letting your nervous system release any holding that you don't need to hold on to, right? Letting the subconscious release any ideas about yourself that you don't need to hold on to. Maybe something that your mom said at some point or somebody else, how your body should be. Just shake, shake, shake. Inviting from the center out to the edges to shake out, and from the edges back to the center to say, oh yeah, it's okay, it's safe, I can let go. One more inhale up, fill up, find the stillness, and then shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, let it go. And see if you can be a little more creative in your shaking. If something hurts and you need to protect it, that's totally fine. Go ahead and protect it. Be smart. Don't hurt yourself. Inhale, open. Exhale, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let it go. And from there, let's just take it into these gentle twists around our central axis. I've got my assistant down here between my feet, helping me feel grounded, right? The relationship of my feet into the floor. There is a sense of grounding. And also, like, as I do anything, if I go one way, there's going to be like another force that's going the other way, right? There's the whole like response, especially like in the water of our bodies as we move. Fluids don't move through our body like in a linear manner. They're like doing all sorts of water-like things. Shake out again, let it go. So even within like our veins and arteries, the way that the blood is flowing, it's not flowing like straight through and then coming around the corner. It's like, and so it's going to put different pressures on parts of, or different, not different pressure, different surface area is going to be covered in different ways in parts of our veins and arteries. So when we move our bodies and let things move a little bit, we're just giving those veins and arteries a chance to also stretch out, right? So we're not rigid in our center, but we're giving it some freedom. So we're going to work with undulations from the bottom to the top, coming down to up. I'm in my Anne Margaret outfit, right? Ready to go to the ski lodge. Down, up. Let that ripple through your head. And then let's go with the head initiating the movement. So head is going to go forward. That moves down through your body. Head initiating the movement down to your feet. However it happens is fine. Your arms can do whatever they want. Good. And then we'll do the side. We'll do the head version because it's easier. So it's like Axl Rose. If you haven't seen Axl Rose do this, maybe go back and look at Welcome to the Jungle or Sweet Child of Mine. Probably Sweet Child of Mine. He gets in there, really gets going, right? The Axl Rose moves. And then you can also see that Stevie Wonder does this too. As he's seated on his piano, he gets that whole head-tail connection really online. All right, and then we're going to do an internal and external rotation with very small. Sometimes we do this really big. We're going to do it small today. And you can do your legs also, like turning out and turning in a little bit, but you don't have to. But with a small softening and a little bit of opening. Exhale, either using the legs or not. I'm not going to because of my knee thing, so I'm just going to go with the upper body. But you are welcome to get that going. So maybe not at your biggest movement, but feeling this internal rotation, external rotation in the arms, letting the shoulder blades move on your back, chest, lungs, heart, and spine. I've seen Martha Eddy, who is another somatic movement educator, dynamic embodiment person, offer this thing of doing basically this movement, but really with the intent of getting the cerebrospinal fluid inside of your spine to move more easily, right? So we're giving that spinal movement, but we're adding this internal enclosing into the front and then opening the front, enclosing into the back. And then coming in, and we're just going to do a little bit of head stuff. So we're going to go forward and backward with your head, just reaching it forward, reaching it backward, craning your neck, retracting, forward, backward. It doesn't have to be your biggest, but whatever feels good and manageable today. And then we're going to go side, side, like this version, lateral shifting, side, side, like somebody's taking your jaw like an old-fashioned typewriter and just popping it from side to side. And then we're going to go with a ear tilt, listening to your shoulder, so lengthening that whole side. Then we're going to drop down to the front, dropping and lifting. And this is how everything I own gets covered in cat hair. Squeaky deaky. And you know what? Why not? If they find it comforting to sleep on my clothes, why not? And then turning your head from side to side, looking one way, looking the other. Maybe slow this one down a little bit and take in your environment. And then come in and let's go down and to one side and then down and to the other side. So just upper traps. We're not going to go back on this. If you really feel like, oh, I want to do a full circle and go back, go for it. But you don't have to. And I'm not stabilizing my spine very much. I'm letting my shoulders kind of move, letting my spine move. So I was reading this book about mystics and sages of the 20th century, people that were around sometimes the turn of the last century. And one of the ones I was reading about is Gurdjieff. And Gurdjieff, like Laban, there are all these people that were doing like sort of spiritual things with movement. He had this whole system of moving and like where you had to be thinking and concentrating so hard, there was no room in your brain for anything else to happen. And I feel like that's such an important thing for us sometimes, to be in that place where we can just get lost in what we're doing. So that's one of the real values of dance, is like really focusing on what exactly is going on in your body. Okay, there's more to say about that. Let's circle the shoulders. Circling, easy. I'm also bending my knees and straightening them. So I'm doing a bend and a straighten. Yeah, I'm really interested. So many people. There was Rudolf Laban, Rudolf Steiner, Gurdjieff, Dalcroze, Delacroix, then like the people that were working with them, Mary Wigman, Susie Paratet, a bunch of people that really were looking at movement and how, and spirit, right? What happens to us when we're in motion, in connection to our bodies? And then come in, and we're going to do another one where you're going to take your hand, you're going to resist. So my head is going to be pushing into my hand. So I'm going to take it down a little bit. I'm not going for a huge stretch. I'm really going for the resistance. Then I'm going to reach this hand down, and I'm going to internally and externally rotate that. So I'm resisting with my head. So I'm pushing into this hand. So I'm not overstretching, but I'm engaging those muscles. And then I'm going to take it and soften a little bit down and a little bit up, a little bit down, still with a little bit of resistance. On a scale of like 1 to 10 resistance, be like around a 5. Good, and let that go. And then just shake it out for a second. Feel the difference between that side and then the other side, same thing. So head is trying to come back up to vertical, but your hand is resisting, and you're doing that on a scale of 1 to 10 at around a 5, right? Numbers, we love numbers. This hand is reaching down and then internally rotating, externally rotating first so that it's not moving a whole lot. And you're reaching out through your fingertips, radiating away from center, ET fingertips lighting up, and then start to add a little bit of more opening and closing. Feel into your own body. It doesn't have to look exactly like what I'm doing, but feel into your own body, bringing awareness into sensation. Giving your body a chance to go, oh, that's what's going on. Good. And then come in, shake it out, let it go. And let's take it down to the floor. Actually, not quite down to the floor yet. We're going to do one more thing here. You're going to take your hands on your shoulders, elbows towards each other, up and open. And I'm going to add my spine. So I'm going to curl, and then like I'm diving through the ceiling, bending my knees, curling. Inhale, opening heart, lungs, and chest. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open, changing direction, up over the top, rounding my spine. Inhale, open. Finding the breath, opening the lungs. Imagining that if you have any kind of little calcifications in there in your rotator cuff, that they are reabsorbing through this fluid movement. 2 more. Last one. Good, and relax and shake it out, and let's come down to the floor. So yeah, there are different ways that we can work with our body. And some are from the outside in, and some are from the inside out. And probably we need a combo platter of both of those things. But when we're doing the outside in, sometimes it's like force it, push it, break up that stuff. But if the body on the inside is holding tightly, it's not gonna be very easy to do that, right? So we need the body from the inside and the idea of who we are to soften enough that we can be more fluid and find more flow in our life, right? If I'm rigidly holding to this is how I am and I have to do it like that and everything is like this, it's hard to be in the flow of life. Which doesn't mean that you're not discerning what is good and what is bad for you. Let's take some time in this position. Soles of your feet together, hands behind you on the floor. You're going to inhale, reach your chest up. Exhale, curl, drop your head, round your spine. Inhale, chest and heart opening, push with your hands. Exhale, soften, curl, and round. Inhale, arch and open. Exhale, soften and curl, really rounding your lower back. You can scoop your belly in. Inhale, chest, heart, lungs opening. Exhale, hollow and curl. Yeah, I'm working with somebody and I'm doing some hands-on, but also some movement work with him. And he comes from a martial arts background. He's like, pull it, do this, give me the time to relax into it. I'm like, well, we can't force it all in there, but in his system of being, that's the way it's done. So it depends where we're coming from, right? I feel like for me, it's like, oh, no, let it go, let it go, let it go, and become more fluid and more like water. Let go of that holding pattern that's lodged in your system about how you hold your body, which isn't like, we could say, let's just knee drop from side to side. Let that massage through your hips and lower back. Releasing through your spine. I've certainly done a ton of the forcing it version. I come from a ballet background. And I've done tons of other form-based exercises. We need a balance. We need some form where there's a specific right and wrong, and we're imposing the structure on the body. And then we also need some free flow stuff where we're allowing the body to release and let go. All right, we're going to take this a little deeper across and then come in. Like, we need to repeat and learn things enough that they land, but we don't want to go into the repetition so much that they become deadened and there's no thought involved and we're just mindlessly doing things, right? Keeping the awareness in our body as we're working out is going to be a healthier relationship in the long term than if we just zone out and, take our mind out to brunch or think about all the problems of the world or ourselves, right? Let those go. Let them fall away and just stay present in sensation in your body. Stay present in your breath. And then come in and let's fix our falling down pants. Arms up over your head, really long. From here, let's stretch through each side. So stretch your legs out, pick one side longer, and then the other side. Arm and leg stretching away from center, reaching out. Once you get there, so we're stretching through this right side and then left side. You can kind of spiral a little bit, move. So I can stretch and let my ribs really pop, or I can bring them in. I feel like I can get longer when my ribs pop, but if I bring them in, I'm just finding a different position in there. I'm letting my hand and foot have some energy. Same thing on this side, right? So I can let my ribs really pop and then use my breath to integrate that again. And we want to have that capacity. We don't want to always have our ribs contracted and in. We want to let them expand and open out, but we want to also be able to bring them in, right? So we have this capacity of movement. It's more important to have the movement than to have the stability at this point in the world, in my opinion, right? We need to break some things open and have some free flow and let go of some of the rigidity. All right. Let's take both hands down by your sides, lift your pelvis up, circles with your hips. And having freedom really starts with letting go of ideas of how things should be, and judgment, right? Having some equanimity about existing, which doesn't mean that you can't discern and walk away from things like, wow, this really feels wrong. The more that you get in touch with what's actually going on in your body, the more aligned and integrated you are going to be in your life with what's happening. I just changed directions. Change direction if you're ready. And then come in. Let's inhale, arms up. And then exhale, press. If it hurts to take your arms all the way up over your head, just take them as far as it doesn't hurt. I'm going to also keep spiraling my hands so that my palms are facing different directions as I go. I'm just going to keep them moving. So you can do it any way you want. Filling up your lungs. Also playing with allowing your rib cage to really flare open and then also containing it sometimes. So sometimes let it pop and open, and sometimes bring your spine down to the floor, right? Back of the ribs connecting to the floor. Yeah, so if I'm in that arched position, the extensors of my spine are working more. If I'm curled, it's the front of my body is going to be working more. And we want to have a balance between our back body and our front body working, right? That sometimes, that we're working both things. So yeah, a lot of people have overemphasized the strength of the front of the body and then their backs are weak, right? So this is strengthening the front of the body. When I'm in an arch, I'm working more on the back of my body. All right, let's take the legs up. We're going to take the hands behind the head, legs together, and we're just going to, let's drop and cross, come in together. Drop one foot, cross, come in together. Drop, cross, bring it in. Drop, cross, in. Drop, cross, in. Drop, touch, come down, pick it up. Drop, touch, come down, pick it up. drop. I'm even forgetting how to do this. Here's Gaylord joining us. So if it's, now let's just skip that and just cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Changing it, reaching the leg long. 1, 2, really long leg, straighten all the way, reach it out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and relax for a second, drop it down, turn your head from side to side, wiggle. So one reason like to do all these sort of versions where we're having it one way and then another is just to stay really present and also feel what changes when the version changes slightly, right? So when my leg is reaching down, I feel a totally different connection in here than when I'm doing it just here, right? All right, let's press up again, lifting your pelvis up. We're going to go again with toes and heels. So just the toes lift. This isn't a full flex. It's just the toes. The ball of the foot is on the floor. Toes go down, heels go up, heels go down. Just the toes. Lower, press. Lower, toes, lower, heels. Lower, toes, lower, heels. Lower, toes, lower, heels, lower, toes, lower, heels. And then we're going to change it. Flex your foot. So the whole foot goes up just except for your heel, and lower. Flex, adjusting, flexing. We're not going up with the heels. Flex, lower, flex, lower, flex, lower, flex, lower, flex, pelvis high, lower, and flex and lower. And then you're going to rock back and forth. Slowly roll it down through your spine, vertebra by vertebra, all the way down to the floor. Take your arms and legs up, give them a little shake, let it go. And let's go for a happy baby. A gentle happy baby. Doesn't have to be your happiest, biggest baby, but something that feels good. Maybe it is your happiest, biggest baby. Listen into your body. And I'm also rolling around because I'm just listening in. I'm like, what does my body want to do right now? I'm going to do that stuff. So feel free to have a moment of free expression down there. Oh, sometimes Gaylord will get up there and invade the space of the white kitty. And sometimes it works that they then hang out together. Well, it looks like he's going to be downstairs. We have the upstairs, downstairs going on. And then, of course, we have the princess in the tower up there. All right, let's take our hands on our knees, big circles, lubricating up your hip sockets. I think I retweeted it. I saw a thing on Twitter, which is a really good, there's some anatomy dude that I follow there. It was a really good image of what's going on with the ball and socket joint. So in our hip socket, our femur head is coming up. There is, let's do it this way. There's our greater trochanter. There's our lesser trochanter. And right here is the knob that connects into the socket, right? So this is all smooth on top. We want to keep that smooth, and we want to keep that interior of that hip socket smooth. Change direction if you haven't. This kind of movement is helping hydrate that joint, getting the synovial fluid in there, but it's also teaching all the fascia, the tendons and the ligaments, how to move in this very three-dimensional way, right? So it's doing a lot of things. So often teaching, like at a gym situation, people are like, I'm doing something and it feels good, but I don't think it's doing anything for me. And it's like, yeah, because you can't really feel very much in your body. The more subtle we can feel into things, the more you can go, wow, that is huge. And the other thing is, if it feels good, then it's good. Hands behind your head. Let's go back to this one more time. So this time, let's just do this version right away. Alternating sides, one in, one out. Feeling what that feels like in your body. And then changing it to elongating one leg all the way out, all the way out, feeling that connection. Imagine lengthening out from your psoas, just in there, connecting in to your spine, lengthening out to your lesser trochanter, that top knob, inner thigh of your femur head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax it down. Free up your spine. Take it all out. Invite your nervous system to let go of anything you need to let go of. Feel the floor underneath you. So if it feels like, oh, if you're really a thin person, sometimes you don't have a lot of padding around your bones, and you might need a little more padding on the floor. And even if you're not such a thin person, you might still need more padding. So you want to be working in a way that feels manageable. So the less stuff we use under us, the less padding we have, the more we're going to be affecting our tissue. But if it's already making you feel uncomfortable and your nervous system is grabbing, that is not helpful, right? So listen into your own body and go, oh, am I taking on tension, or am I able to release it, especially in these shakeout things? Let it go. Shake and jiggle, free flow. Feel the relationship between your head, your ribs, your pelvis. Just inviting it to have ripples, waves, wave-like movement through your core, all the way from your tail to the fontanelle, the top of your head. And so again, when we think of how water moves, or how like flows move, like airflow, water flow, even the flow of thoughts, it's not linear and direct, going along the tracks like this. It's like, so let that kind of movement come into your body, right? So that there's a sense of fluidity and flow that has a lot of spiraling, a lot of freedom, and a lot of differentiation, a lot of different possibilities in movement. So that inside, the fibers are gliding, sliding, our organs are having some mobility. We're not all gummed up and gripped. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Yeah, I said it in one class, I think it was Saturday's class. If you can, just take a deep breath in and invite your body to let go of any sort of fear patterning that it's holding on to. Like, oh, I've got this injury, or I had this injury 20 years ago, and so I always hold that part of my body really rigidly. If it feels okay to bring some more breath and movement in there, invite that in. Invite flow, invite that free flow, so that there is some hydration and energy moving through the area. And by energy, I really mean movement. All right, let's roll ourselves back and forth, rounding your spine. My class is basically one long monologue. With movement. All right, we're going to take it over our shoulders, and you're going to be very careful with this. So you're in a plow. If that feels okay, you're going to try opening your legs wider, bringing them in, walking your feet from one side, walking them to the other. So when I shift my legs over to one side gently, I feel a stretch right in my sacroiliac joint of the other side of my body. So we're playing very easily with this. If it's enough just to be here, then hang out there. You can try bending your knees. You can move them, bend them, listening in, don't poke the bear, right? Arguably, this is a rather extreme. When you're ready, let yourself roll it down and come up. Let's go. Let's just flip over. Let's just flip over onto your belly on the mat. Bending your knees, wagging your tail, shifting your butt from side to side, massaging through the front of your quads, checking out the situation along the surface of your floor. Coming in, drop your, curl your toes under, drop your head onto your hands, and just push up and down. Relax, soften, melt. Letting your nervous system float gently inside of your fascia. Doesn't have to do anything. It's already doing it, just pushing up and down. Let it be as effortless as possible. Softening, melting, unclasping, letting go. Gentle rock. And then let's come in tops of the feet on the floor. You take your arms out to the side. You're going to spiral so that palms are facing up behind your butt. They come out to the floor and then towards the ceiling. So palms down, palms up, palms down, palms up. Feeling into that spiraling. If you want to go faster and take this higher, you can rock it. Oh. But if that doesn't feel good, don't do it, right? Sometimes we think, oh yeah, I gotta do that thing. Don't do the thing if you don't want to do the thing. If it doesn't feel good, if you're being more careful today, then don't do it. All right, and relax. Let's come up onto hands and knees. Curling your toes under for the arch, tops of the feet on the floor for the curl. Toes under for the arch, and tops of the feet on the floor for the curl. We're going to change it now. We're going to work with this. We could just do it in a tabletop, so we're in a flat back. Just bring your shoulders towards your ears and then bring them down. Shoulders coming up and down. And what I want to say, like what's happening, your shoulder blades are kind of doing this. So there's like, that could be happening inside there, right? This kind of spiraling. It's a lot easier actually if you do it with an arch and a curl. So let's go ahead and add the arch and the curl. Arch, they're spiraling, curling down, and then rotate in and up. Moving your shoulder blades on your back. Pushing with your hands, opening the chest. I'm going to leave the feet out of it for right now because it might be too much to think about. But if you've got the wherewithal, feel free to add the feet, curling your toes under, and then not. Good. And then coming into neutral. And we're just going to circle just over our wrists. So think of your hands like little tree frog hands, right? Little sticky fingers sticking on the floor, pushing down, spreading out. Easy, small circle over your wrist. So I'm circling my body over my wrist. Pretty small circle. Change direction other way. And you can bear as much weight as feels good on your arms or take your weight back onto your legs more. So it's not forcing anything in there that feels like too much. Let's take the hands to here, palms up, small circles again. Pushing the back of your hand into the floor. Change direction. Really small circles, just letting your weight hang out over your elbows. If possible, push the hands into the floor. And then coming into a regular cat-cow here. Using your breath, pushing the floor away. And then coming up onto hands, and let's just go hands and feet for a second. Pushing the floor away, lowering your knees, tops of the feet to the floor, elbows down, elbows up, tippy fingers, lower the heels of the hands, curl the toes under, pick up the knees, lower the knees, tops of the feet down, elbows to the floor, come up, press through, lower down. It's so much for me to even think about. Curl your toes under, pick up your knees, drop your knees, undo your toes, elbows to the floor, elbows up, onto your tippy fingers, lower down, curl your toes under, pick up your knees, drop your knees, top of the toes down, elbows up, press it up and lower. Last one, curl your toes under, lift, lower, release the feet, touch down, come up, fingers, and come down. And let's go back over the hands again and just internally and externally rotate. Thinking of pushing into your forearm, into the floor. This can be done from a plank or knees on the floor. Massaging through the tissue in your forearm. And then let it go. Melt into the floor. Bend your knees again. Windshield wipers the legs. Let it go. Breathe. easy and loose. Oh, to let you guys know, I am not going to do Thursday morning class, but I could switch it to Friday if anybody is available to do that. So let me know. And then the other thing is on Sunday, I'm going to do a like an Easter class workout. It will not have choreography, but it will have tondus and probably music. I will not record it, or I won't put it up on the internet. So that is a different link than this one. So if you want to do that, let me know. That'll be at 9:30 on Sunday. So I'll teach on Saturday the 8th and on Sunday the 9th. Okay, hands next to your chest. Inhale up and exhale down. Different link for the Sunday class. Also possibly teaching Friday if you guys reach out to me and say you want to do class. Inhale up. Whoa, cramping in my foot. Exhale down. Inhale, try bending your knees, touch your toes to your head. Imagine you're 6. Release it down. It's an option to bend the knees. You don't have to. Two more. Last one. And then take it back. Child's pose. I'm still not quite ready for that myself, so I'm doing an alternate version. You can do whatever you want, child's pose or not. Good. And then let me check the time. Good. We're going to do a little bit of side stuff. And you're going to decide whether or not you want to take your weight off the floor for this. So coming onto your side with your knees bent, these pants are falling down. Yesterday, I had pants, actually, it was a pair of pants that you gave me, Cassie, those snakeskin leggings, and those ones fall up. They're really high-waisted, so they keep going up, and I'm like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable. These ones fall down. Having something that fits around my waist without squeezing it is like an impossible task, it seems like. So I'd rather have something too big or not wear the tight one for too long. Okay, that's more information than anyone needs to know. Let's just take the bottom shoulder, push, sink, push, sink, push, sink. My butt is on the floor, push, sink, push, lift your butt up, look under, open, unfurl, and take it back down. Push into your arm, spiral under, inhale, open, and lower. Open your heart, bring it in. Move from the center to the edge and come down. Up, we curl in, we uncurl, come down. Up, curling in, uncurling, unfurling, lower, up, in, open, down, up, in, open, down. This is our last one. In and open and come down. Let's take the bottom leg forward, top leg back, come up, side stretch. So yeah, I got a little bit exuberant and like jumped on my pole. I like to run up to my pole and grab and pull myself up, which is a great thing to do when you're warmed up. That's the thing about getting older, Susan. Got to keep warming up before you do the crazy stuff. Opening and closing. Exhale, down, inhale, open. And like I didn't get injured, but I definitely got a warning signal from my body that that was not a great idea. Inhale, open, exhale. I mean, it's fine to do if I've been warmed up, if I've taken class, if I'm good, but if I'm just first thing in the morning, kind of cold, maybe not. And come in. So we want to establish these relationships with our body where we get the message and we take it in and we go, okay, got it. I'm going to listen to that. Because it's really easy, especially in the world that we live in, to not listen to our body. So do yourself the kindness, listen in. Do yourself a kindness. All right, pressing up, sinking down, pressing, sinking. So I can like lift from my waist or I can really push from my arm, right? So I'm pushing from my arm. coming down, pushing. My scapula is really moving up and then down my back. And if this is hurting, then don't do it. But I feel like this is one of the, this is one of the ways to work within a joint, but not be killing yourself, right? So that's what we want to find when if we're having kind of issues like me with my it's the kind of front of my deltoid. It's probably really not my deltoid, but underneath that. All right, and then we're going to go up. Inhale, lift. My knees are still bent. Curl under. Open it up and lower down. Up, curling in from my heart out through my fingertips and lower. Press it up. In, uncurl, down, press, soften, open, lower. Inhale, exhale, inhale, lower. Up, curl, uncurl, down. 2 more. Up, in, out, and down. Last one. Up, in, out, and down. Bottom knee forward, top knee back. Side stretch. Just hanging out there for a couple of breaths. And then softening forward, little teeny arch. Soften. Inhale. Exhale. Generally, when I really start to listen in, there is a slowing down of my body, right? It's like, okay, bring the awareness in, slow down, feel the breath. And release that. And let's take our legs out in front. We're going to do this little knee thing. So my feet are flexed. I'm going to turn out my leg. I'm going to try and fire up this muscle that's crossing over my knee here and pulse it up. Going 1. Externally rotated, trying to get that thing to work. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go parallel. Quad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't have to be high. 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. Other side. Turned out. This muscle crossing the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Parallel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take it into a forward fold. You didn't just work your hamstrings, but let's forward fold now anyway. Soften and melt. In your forward fold, kind of rock from one side to the other. So you're feeling inner body fluid and relaxed, outer body softening, letting go. Nervous system, easy. So we also want that our nervous system is routed out there, but it's not stuck on what it's moving through, right? It's not getting all stuck together. If we don't move, things become a little more glued up. We're letting there be some sliding around, gliding and sliding. All right, let's do a quick quad stretch. Since we did just work them, we could do those knee and leg raises more, but we're not going to. Quad stretch, you're going to turn in and turn out from the hip socket. Heel in towards your butt. And then kick your leg back a little further. And release. And let's do one up the side. So you're going to take it up the side. This would be turned in, turned out. I'm trying to get my sit bone aiming down and my femur head rotated out as this leg comes up. I'm not going to go for my biggest stretch here right now, but you can. And I'm going to flex and point my foot at the top of that. Yeah, the more I think about this coming from the inside to the outside, the more connected I am. If I'm just yanking, it's different, but I'm thinking of leg is lengthening and lifting, and then I add the flex and point. Maybe give it a little bit of help, but not a lot. And release it. Shake it out. Let it go. Nice shaking. And switch it to the other side. Just the quad stretch to start out. You're on your side. Bring the bottom leg forward enough that you're not fighting for balance. Taking your knee back, a little internal and external rotation coming from that hip socket. So as we're doing that internal external rotation, we're letting the quad, the 4 sections of the quadricep, have some movement, right? And we're also moving obviously the femur head in the socket, but this is going to affect our lower back a little bit as that tissue is moving forward and backward. Then kick back with your leg. And release, and then up to the side. And if you want to straighten the bottom leg here, you can. This is my good side, so I am going to push it further. But then I start yanking, and I'm not thinking about drawing it from the inside to the outside, right? So once I stop thinking about that and really lengthen, flex and point it there, I get a lot more movement. Inner body to outer body. Inner body reaching to the outer body. Flex and point. And then release. Come onto your back. Lower your feet, shake out your butt, give it a little shake, loose and relax, lower down. And we're just going to do this stretch from side to side. Head goes away from your legs, knees bent or straight, whatever you need to do. Spiraling one way and then the other. And then let's do one rolling across. So rolling across from one side to the other. Body half opening and closing. Again, maybe like I still have to be careful not going into my full straddle. So I'm kind of not going full force, but you can. Oh, to control the desire to move bigger. Rein it in. Good. And then come in, shake it out, shake it out. Roll yourself forwards and backwards. Some people need the encouragement to do more. Some people need the encouragement to do less. And be smart about it. Inhale, open, lift. Exhale, bounce, soften. Let it all go. Big, deep diaphragmatic breathing. And again, inhale, open. This time come down really soft and light. So let it just float down. Easy, loose, letting go. And again, soft and gentle opening, expanding, radiating outward, and exhale, soften, and release down. Good. And so people in TV land, thank you. Like and subscribe. Eddie, thank you. Totally appreciate you. And